Hi, welcome to Undead Yarn. This is episode 16. My name is Heidi, and you can find me on Ravelry and Plurk as Knitty Girl, and on Instagram and Twitter as Knitty Girl 1. It's been a long week. It's been a lot of fun, but it's been a long week. I'm still kind of tired and recovering from my week. We spent a lot of time downtown at South by Southwest this week. This was spring break. And what we do is we go down during the day and go to the day shows. You can see a lot of the bands that play in the evening during the day. And since we're not spring chickens anymore, we like to go during the day so that we can come home in the evening and relax and, catch up and stuff. But it's a lot of walking because not everything is around the corner. And then if you want to see one band in one place and then you want to go see a different band in a different place, you have to walk back and forth. And so I did get quite a bit of exercise this time, but I also ate a bunch of crummy food. A lot of breakfast tacos, and what else do we have? Taco Bell, which I don't normally eat. But some of the other stuff was good. There were a few places that had good things. One place had vegetarian tacos and orzo, and another time we had some barbecue, which is not, that's not the best either, but not everything was junky. Although it probably mostly was not very healthy. Anyway, I do have some works in progress I can talk about, and I have one finished object that was a fail. But I'm still going to be able to use it, and I'll tell you more about that when I get to it. The first thing that I'm working on, I've been working on for a little while. I am still working on my leprechaun socks out of my Undead yarn, which is my 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And you can see there's self-striping, and it's a gold and a green and a black. And I did want to say that this colorway is only going to be available until the end of the month. So when March is over, I'm going to put this colorway away, and it won't be back and available again until next year for St. Patty's Day. So I'm obviously not going to finish by St. Patty's Day, but I'm on my second sock, so hopefully I will be finished with them by the end of the month. And the next thing that I worked on is I started a worsted weight sock. We've had some really weird weather. It's been really warm one day and the next day freezing. And it's really weird. We've had quite a few school delays this year, and we had a couple of snow days. They're not the typical snow days that you would see up north, because what happens here is it gets really cold and then it rains, and so we get a lot of ice. But it doesn't usually stay below freezing that long here, so what's been happening is it'll ice over in the morning, and sometimes by 10 o'clock it clears up and it's okay, we can get back on the roads and everything, but sometimes it doesn't clear up until noon. So those are the days that we end up having a snow day, and what's kind of funny about it is it's okay, well, we have the day off at noon, we'll go out and get lunch and run errands or whatever. So it's not like snow days up north where you were truly stuck in your house and you're not going anywhere. The second thing, but anyway, the whole reason I brought that up is because it made me want to make some more worsted weight socks. I've been noticing, since it's been so cold this winter, it's not usually this cold that much. I mean, I think an average, our temperature during the winter is 50 degrees, and we usually have one maybe 60, 70 degree day a week during the months of November, December, January, February. But we've had a lot of really cold days, 30, and days that it didn't get above freezing here. So I've been wearing more of my heavier socks, and I find I can wear these heavy socks in my boots and in my sneakers, and I wear those a lot to work anyway because I have to do a lot of walking since I'm going to picking up kids and bringing them back to their classroom a lot. So I know a lot of people say they can't wear socks that are any bigger than fingering weight in their shoes, but I don't have a lot of dress shoes that I can't wear them in, probably because I don't wear a whole lot of, most of the dress shoes I have are shoes that you would wear socks with anyway, and often I can fit a heavier weight sock into the shoes. Not all of them, but definitely in my sneakers and my boots I always can wear nice worsted weight socks. So I started another one, and this one, let's see if you can see the colors. It's always hard for me because the video looks way better when I put it up. So it's hard for me to tell if you guys are getting a good representation of the color. That looks good. There you go. This is called, what did I say? I think it is Navajo. This is I Love This Wool, and you can get this at Hobby Lobby. And the color is called Navajo. And the reason I decided to try a sock with this is that it's 90% wool, but then 10% nylon. Just like most sock yarns have nylon in them, I've found that I have made, and I still make socks that are maybe 100% merino or 100% superwash merino, something like that. I often find the ones that are made with nylon last a lot longer. So I thought it might be kind of neat to see how this works up, because I did make my father a pair of socks out of I Love This Wool, and he wore a hole in them, and like, I mean, he wore them a lot because they were heavy socks. They were like slipper socks, but he wore a hole in them after a month. And I also made my husband a pair of 100% wool socks, and that was like a fingering weight wool, and he poked a hole through them in a month. But the ones that I have not had a problem with getting holes right away. I don't think I'm as hard on my socks, but I do notice that they tend to stretch more, and they don't wear as well. It seems like on the bottom often it'll felt faster than if it's something that has some nylon in it. So I thought I would try this out because this is one of the few worsted weight yarns that I've seen that has nylon in it. If you guys know of any other ones that have some nylon content, or that you have found that are really awesome for making worsted weight socks, let me know, because I think I'm going to be making a lot more of these. I definitely wore my worsted weight wool socks this season. So this is the Broken Rib sock, and it's from that book, one of those One Skein Wonder books, and the pattern is by Kathleen Taylor, and I'm using size 5 Chigoos to knit this sock. And oh, my undead yarn, I'm using Knit Picks size 0. And I do have one FO. I'm not going to go get it because you really can't see the whole FO in the screen, but I did pull up a picture of it on my phone so I could show you. It's that sweater I was working on with the Elan.com yarn that's partly wool and partly llama. It's 50% wool, 50% llama. I think I may have said the wrong thing last week. But I love the yarn. It's nice to work with. It's very warm. I love the way that it came out, but my sweater did not come out correctly when I put it on. It's really wonky on the top. I feel like I followed the directions, but I think maybe I did the increases the wrong way, or something happened, because I was pretty much getting the correct count each time that I went around. So I'm not sure what I did wrong, but if you can see, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but one side the increases are on a diagonal, and then the other side they go straight down. So when I put the sweater on, it doesn't fit right. I can wear it, it's comfortable, but it doesn't look right. I mean, you can tell there's something wrong there. So I have been toying with making a wool snuggie, I know. But when I'm in the house, I get cold, and I always thought those, well, when I was a kid, I actually had something similar to that, and I used to wear it around the house all the time. Granted, we lived up north, but it kept me warm. And so I think I'm going to keep this. I'm not going to rip it out, but I'm not going to wear it out of the house either. It's going to be my around the house, I need to keep warm sweater. So this sweater, I like the pattern. It was called Wicked, and it's an older pattern, and a lot of people have made it. So if you wanted to make it, I would recommend going and looking at all the suggestions that people have, because I didn't do that, and I probably should have, because I'm not sure what I did wrong, and at this point, it's so far gone, I'm not going to go back. I don't, for me, it's not worth it to fix it, because it's just not. But I'm going to keep it, but it's kind of a sweater fail. I think after doing this, for myself, what I like is either bottom up, or I also like putting it in pieces, knitting it in pieces, because I found even if I knit it in pieces and they don't exactly match right. I took a really good finishing class. I think I talked about this before from the Knitting Fairy, and she kind of showed how you could fudge when you seam here, when you seam the arms together or the sides together. If there's a little bit of a mismatch, you can kind of fudge it so that it ends up looking okay when you're done sewing it together. I mean, I'm sure if you had a huge mistake you couldn't, but sometimes I've had, like, maybe it looks like there's some extra stitches on the body of the sweater that don't match up quite with the sleeves, and you can kind of fudge it with I can't remember exactly how you do it, but you actually like add the way you do the mattress stitch. You can add more stitches on one side than the other, and you can make it so that it ends up looking like it's okay. So I think for the future I'm going to stick with bottom up or pieces. And I'm like most knitters, I don't really enjoy the sewing part, but I can do it and it looks pretty good when I'm done. So I think I'm going to stick with that from now on, and right now I think I'm going to put off knitting sweaters for a while because that was a long one. It took me, I felt like it was taking forever, and you want your knitting to be fun. So I think from now on, or for a little while, I'm going to keep off the sweater. I do still want to make that crochet sweater this year, but it's not going to be immediately. The next thing I wanted to talk about, I don't have any spinning. I forgot to mention though last week when I showed you the yarn that I had made, the orange yarn, that was the first time I had spun a whole skein woolen, and both of the plies were woolen. And I think that's why it came out to be a worsted weight yarn, because mostly what I've been spinning, like as I've gotten better and better, usually what I come out with when I'm done, and even after I ply, it's usually a fingering or a lace weight. But this one came out to be more like a DK worsted weight, and I think it's because I spun woolen. I don't have as much practice with that, because usually when I spin woolen, I only do it temporarily, and then I go right back to worsted spinning. This time I forced myself to keep going, and you can get a good rhythm. Now I can't do a perfect long draw because I still use my other hand, but I have been able. I was able to make them, both plies worsted and spin them together. So it'll be kind of neat to see what that looks like, how it's different when I knit that up. And I already talked a little bit about what's been going on the last couple of weeks, or the last week we were on spring break, and we went downtown, like I said, during the day to see the day parties. And I had my favorite place that we went was at Stubbs. The Spin magazine had a party there on Saturday. No, not Saturday. It was Friday. Yeah, on Friday. And I liked the way they had that one set up the best because there was constant music going on. I mean, when we first got there, it wasn't because, they were still setting up, and it was nice. They gave everybody breakfast, and so everybody was hanging out. But then once the band started, they had 2 stages. So once one stage was finished, you could turn around and go the other direction, and the stage in the back was starting. And this pretty much went off like clockwork for the first 3 or 4 bands. And then when War Paint was supposed to come on, which we really wanted to see because that's one of the bands we really like, for some reason we sat there for 20 minutes and we don't know what happened. When they finally came on, they only got to play 3 songs because I guess they were like, hey, we're moving this sucker along. And that's the one thing I liked. They were really organized this year. It was definitely really organized. And I do think that was really cool how they did that. And I know they did that because Stubbs is a big venue, and I'm sure once the day show was over, they had to turn around and start getting ready for the evening shows. So that was probably my favorite venue in the way it was set up, and I actually liked most of the bands. There was only maybe one that I didn't think was that great. But my 2 favorite bands that we saw, one was the Dum Dum Girls, and I know a lot of you have probably heard of them. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about them, but I had never seen them. So when I saw them, I was like, oh, these guys are pretty good. So when we got home, my husband went and downloaded their album right away. And then the other group that I really liked, my husband didn't like as much. I think he thought the guy was a little weird, but I thought he was a lot of fun. The band was called Future Islands, and if you haven't heard of this band or you haven't seen it, you really have to see them. The music, I really like the music, but mostly I like to listen to alternative rock. I find as I get older, I don't listen to the pop stations much anymore, and often when I'm in my car, I'm listening to NPR or I listen to a book on tape, but when I do listen to the radio, it's usually one of the alternative stations. And I really like this band. They're called Future Islands, and the lead singer is out there. He's a lot of fun. He dances. He looks like a big jock guy, and he dances like I don't know. He just dances all silly. And he changes his voice a lot when he's singing. So I don't know how to describe it, but you should go check him out. If you look him up on YouTube, I'm sure you can see some of some other videos. So those were my two favorite bands. We had a really good time. My husband really liked the Dum Dum Girls, and I liked them too, but I liked the other band just as much because I thought they were a lot of fun. So we had a really good time. The other thing we did is yesterday we went to lunch at this new place called Blue Corn Tortilla, and they make a lot of their stuff. A lot of their stuff is made fresh on the premises, and they use a lot of organic and fresh produce from the area, which I thought was really cool. And I had these really good, a big thing here is tacos, of course, but I had the fish tacos, and they were really good, not just because they did a good job with the fish and, you know, all the toppings that they put on them, but also because they use blue corn tortillas. So they were organic blue corn tortillas, and I love all the tortillas here that are made fresh. You can't, I mean, there's nothing like getting a fresh tortilla for your taco. It's delicious, but this was like extra special. I guess it's like thinking of nacho chips versus when you buy the blue organic blue taco chips. There's like a different flavor. It was really good. And my husband had, I can't remember exactly what he had, but I remember his big excitement was that they have endless mini pancakes. But he got so much food on his plate that he didn't even ask for extra pancakes when they came back and said, "Do you want more?" He's like, "No, I can't eat anymore." And he's really tall and he can eat a lot, so that's saying something. So we'll definitely be going back to that restaurant. It was really good. I also wanted to talk about, I've been reading these books by an author named Sarah Douglas, and she's from Australia. And I'm on her third book in the Wayfarer Redemption series, and it's called Starman. And I've just been enjoying the books so much that I was like, let me go follow her on Twitter, because I follow a lot of other authors I like there. And I looked her up, and I found out that she passed. Apparently she's I think she's one of the biggest, or the most well-known, one of the most well-known people or writers from Australia. And when I looked her up, it said that she has her PhD in English history. So I thought that was interesting. And that she passed away from ovarian cancer. So I was sad to find that out, because I really just in the last year or so discovered her. One of my friends told me about her, and I've been reading all the books. But if you like fantasy, I would highly recommend her series. She has an amazing world that she's made, and her series are very popular, and they've won a lot of awards in Australia. So I would recommend Sarah Douglas's Wayfarer Redemption series. I'm not sure if there's like 5 or 6 books. I'm on book 3 right now. And I know I intend to definitely eventually finish them. It was really good. And believe it or not, I don't have any enabling. I think I was too busy to sit down and mess around and buy stuff on the computer. So yay for me. I also wanted to mention that, I might as well just go ahead and go into shop news. Like I said, with the Leprechaun colorway, that's just going to be available through the end of March. So if you want that colorway, I would go ahead and get it now. Like I do with most of my self-striping, I don't have anything in the shop unless it's a mistake one. I do have a sample of it, so you can see what it looks like. But those are all dyed to order. All my variegateds are generally ready to go. Like I will ship them out as soon as you order them. But for the self-striping, you need to give me about a week, because I need to warp and then dye and then, and then rinse, dry, and reskein. And so that takes a while to get all that done, especially because it it's not dry. Things are not drying fast right now. It's not that warm, so it takes a couple of days at least for the drying. But I also wanted to mention that I do have some new colors. 3 of them are Roadkill, and that means they're one of a kind, and they're all on my fingering base. So I'm going to go ahead and show you those first, and then the other one is a new color that is a self-striping color that is based on one of the colors I already have in my shop. Here's the first Roadkill. This one is reds and purples. It's mostly red. Most of what you see is red. I was planning to do something else with this skein, and but it didn't come out quite the way I wanted it to. So what I did is, after I dyed it with the red, I over dyed it with purple. So it's red, mostly a tonal red, but then there's dashes of purple in it, and you'll be able to see a better picture. I always have much better pictures on Etsy. And then another one of the, sorry, I'm going off the camera. Another one of the Roadkill ones, I've been having a lot of trouble trying to take a picture of this, and this one I'm not going to put up until I get a good picture because it is just beautiful. But it's very hard to picture. Every time I take a picture of it, it looks like it's black. And it's not black. It is red and this really dark purpley brown color, and it came out amazing. But I don't think I'm going to be able at this point to recreate it. It has, mostly it's a really dark brownish purple with dashes of red in it. And see, even here, you can kind of see. Maybe next time I should bring a light over so I can use a light to shine on the yarn. It might work better. It'll probably work a lot better. So that's another one that's going to be up in the shop, and that's also a fingering weight. And then this one is, it's not really a turquoise color, but it's a light blue. I'd say it's kind of a sky blue with a little bit of a teal color to it. It's a little more green than what's showing up here, but that's another one that's Roadkill. So those are the 3 one-of-a-kind skeins I'm going to be putting up. Hopefully I can get this one up, the one that I'm having trouble with the pictures. I'm going to have to get the right lighting. I even tried taking a picture of it outside, and it still didn't work. So I may have to get my husband to use his better camera for that one. And this is the one that is new. And it's based on my Purple Vein colorway, and this is Purple Vein self-striping. The way that it works is it's 1 stripe of pink, the bright neon-y pink, 1 stripe of purple, 1 stripe of pink, and 1 stripe of black. So it's basically, it's black and purple stripes with the neon pink in between each stripe. And this is the new colorway that will be going up in the shop, and it's Purple Vein self-striping, and this one is also on the fingering weight. I also wanted to mention that my friend Elizabeth from Dark Matter Knits, she's in the Dark Matter Knits, she has a podcast, and she's also a designer, and she works for Cooperative Press, is designing something with one of my colorways. She's designing, I think it was going to be a shawl, but it may be more like a narrow scarf type shawl thing. And so hopefully she's working on that right now. And so eventually, hopefully that will be a pattern that will be available. And if you haven't watched her podcast, you really should, because she knows quite a bit. She has a lot of knowledge to share. And at the end of every episode, she talks. She does a tutorial. She's done a couple of cast-ons. She showed how to cable without a cable needle, and I'm definitely going to use the cable without a cable needle thing. And then the first cast-on she showed was one that was similar to, but not exactly the same as the cast-on that I don't know that everybody uses. I don't know, the one that you do with your finger. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. I know y'all are probably all yelling at me right now. But at the end of each show, after she talks about, she has a theme for each show, and at the end of each show, she talks about, she does a tutorial on some kind of thing that will help you with your knitting. So I would definitely go check her out if you haven't yet. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, Well, I have that Easter colorway, and that one, I'm not sure how long I'm going to make that available. At this point, I'm planning to make it available through April. We'll see how that goes. If there is a high demand for it, maybe I will keep it on a little bit longer. But the Rotten Tail self-striping, I'm probably not going to keep on for too much longer after April. So if you want that one, I would also go and check it out. And I swear, I think there's something else. Oh, next week I'm going to be taking a class, and then I believe it's the following week. Let me check. That we will be at DFW. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. DFW Fiberfest is the weekend of the 28th, and there's going to be a podcaster meetup at the DFW Fiberfest on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And the organizers were Super Steph from Mustache Podcast and Suburban Stitcher, and also Free Flower from Mustache will be there. I believe Proverbial Knitter will be there. I'll be there. Elizabeth from Dark Banner Knits will be there. And then I think Knitting Rose from Knitting Rose Podcast was going to be there. And the lady from Tap Girl on the Go is going to be there. I'm not sure if anybody else is going to be there. Those are the ones that I think have said for sure that they're going to try to be at the meetup. Jinx Yarns wanted to go, but I don't know if she's going to be able to make it because she is a vendor. And it's going to depend on, I think, whether or not she has help at that time in her booth. But please, if you see me, come by and say hi. I'm going to bring some buttons. So I have some buttons and business cards to pass out if you want them. And I look forward to seeing you guys. I'm not sure. That's what I also wanted to say. I'm not sure if I probably won't be recording that weekend because I won't be coming home until Sunday afternoon. And then I start work on Monday. So there may be a lull in... It may be like 2 or 3 weeks, depending. If I get time next weekend, I will try to podcast. I do have a class on Saturday that I'm taking that has to do with preparing fiber, and I'm really excited about it. So maybe next Sunday I'll have one, either next Sunday or there may be an extra week lag in there. Because when I do the podcast after DFW Fiberfest, I want to have some good lighting and everything so I can show you my purchases. Because I definitely will be purchasing there. And anyway, at this point, it looks like I'm about at 30 minutes again, so I'm going to say get busy knitting or get busy dyeing. Bye.